The second part of that video that he talked about was him saying that the only thing that matters now with the younger generation is the vibe.
As I start to try to understand why some of the artists that sometimes are opposing my videos or they're complete opposite of the idea of selling their music, I start to navigate to content like this clip that was reposted on a well-known hip-hop collector, New Face, on his Instagram. And he kind of put it up here criticizing it. But as much as I disagree with what this young dude is getting ready to say, I do applaud him for speaking truth. Or his truth, at least. He was going off about Killer Mike winning the Grammy, the 3 Grammys, sweeping the rap category, and he gave a young perspective on why he feels disconnected from Killer Mike's music and just that type of music in general. I'm gonna let him talk about it.
About how I did not know who Killer Mike was. I woke up to 1,000 comments of old heads talking about, oh, how you don't know who Killer Mike is? How you don't know who Killer Mike is? And they gave me a few song suggestions. So on my walk to class, I say, you know what? I'm going to expand my palette. I'm going to actually go in these comments and pick out a few songs and listen to them. I listened to the songs, bro. And still not my cup of tea. But look, I know exactly why I didn't like those songs. The older generation tends to like the lyrics. You know what I'm saying? The lyrics are the most important thing, the content, what he's actually saying. Is he telling a story? Is he saying something? That's the most important thing to them. But for us, it's all about the aura. The lyrical content doesn't even matter. Is it a vibe or not?
What did I tell y'all last week?
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell.
What did I tell y'all last week? The worst word that has ever found its way to hip hop is the vibe.
There it
vibe,
is.
Fam. It's the vibe. I feel,
which is a word I use.
And you know what? I don't disagree with that really.
No, I agree with him 100%. And to your point about when you talked about someone that's younger, how they, review or perceive the podcast, this goes to that same thing from a youth standpoint. It's 100% about the vibe. It's everything.
And I hate to have to keep bringing him up, but 𝐀𝐁𝐎�. His show is him just wilding out, essentially.
Yeah.
He's not saying anything poignant on any episode.
No. Right.
He's sitting there listening to something.
And then yelling.
And yelling and getting up and dancing.
Has ADHD.
And sitting back down. And
the
he
NBA
is making millions of dollars off this. He's got a Nike deal.
Yeah, the NBA made him the center point of part of the All-Star celebration.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Played in the celebrity game, all that.
Yeah, but it's definitely about a vibe because, I mean, if you think about Uzi Vert's song last year that went crazy.
Rock. Yeah.
I Want to Rock. He's not saying anything in this song. It's literally just a rhythm and him tapping his sides and doing his little punk ass dance.
Do you think it's because of this attention span related thing, or do you have any? Because that's what I think.
Yeah. It's 100% the attention span.
I don't think people have the attention span to listen to lyrics.
No, and that's
they don't want to because they feel like a lot of people always use the example or excuse that when I want to listen to music, I don't want to learn nothing. I
saw that too.
That's weird. I mean, even if I don't learn anything from listening to music, and I'm not necessarily learning stuff from listening to the music I like. I like hearing stories though.
It's literally people saying, I don't want to think. You guys are making me work too hard if I have to think about anything that I'm listening to. It just puts me in a mood. That's all I need.
Yeah.
As long as I'm in the mood, I'm good. Whatever mood that is, I'm good with
That's why I think sometimes I get confused when younger kids will be like, man, this artist changed my life. I'm like, how? Like
based off what?
They're not saying it based off their vibe. Their vibe changed your life.
That's it. It's the vibe.
No, this is the thing. Like,
I don't know.
I have to believe it's about a vibe because if I believed it was about the actual content of the music, I'd be like, we are lost as a culture.
Yeah,
you know. So I'm glad to hear them say it's a vibe, and I can't relate to the lyrics, or the lyrics are too complex because there are some times when I find myself actually listening to what these people are saying outside of the beat and outside of how it makes people move. Yeah. And I'm like, this is just
so
awful.
Basic.
But at the same time, they don't want to hear, the buck that bought a bottle could have struck the lotto. Like, it's too much for them to deal with. Yeah. And quite honestly, let's just be real. There's a lot of people who didn't want to hear that from when Nas put it out. Remember, his album didn't even go gold when it came out. Like, that was, don't get the game messed up. As much as we talk about Illmatic and the classic nature of it, it wasn't on the radio all the time.
I wasn't on the radio at all.
At all. Unless you had a little college station or you had,
or you was in New York.
Yeah, unless you had, like in St. Louis, we had a community, KDHX, and I'd be able to hear it on Street Vibes on Friday nights, and that was about it, because I knew that the commercial station, Magic 108 at the time, was not playing Nas. You know, if I didn't listen to, like I said, if I didn't listen to the community radio station, I wouldn't even know. It's the same thing with a group like Curious. You know, when they came through, they're on the same label, Columbia. You know, major label acts still couldn't get played on the radio with all the promotion, T-shirts, stickers, and all that. It still wasn't going to break through. So I'm not just going to put it on this generation, because this part, you know, I love the song "Big Papa" by Notorious B.I.G., but you can almost say
I don't think it's about the
there's
generation.
a vibe.
I don't think
to
it's
that
about,
song.
I don't think
Why you say that?
I don't
Long?
think it's about. What do you mean? I don't think it's about the generation aspect of it. I think it's just this generation. This generation is just the golden
Era of the vibe.
It's just it's like the golden ticket. It's like, you know, it's that thing.
Let's get straight to it.
It's what it is. It's just like I don't even mean this in a condescending way when I say they don't have attention spans. They grew up in a culture where nobody has an attention span.
That's
like,
true.
It's just like,
Or has to wait for anything.
yeah, it's just like everything's immediate. You know, there's everything is
new music
instant.
doesn't just drop on Tuesdays anymore.
Everything is just instant gratification. It's, you know, we have access to everybody and everything
Right now.
and
Do you know-
we didn't grow up. We grew up with the internet, but we didn't grow up with this.
And it was in its infancy stage when we were younger. But can you imagine what the kids, how messed up they would be if they had to wait? Like we used to have to wait to hear music.
They would be the same as us if it never happened.
If it never happened.
I'm just saying,
you got to think about how. So my senior year in high school is when the internet really started. Like, oh, this is a thing now. I can go to sites and pull up this, and it loaded crazy slow.
Yeah.
So even then, we had to be patient with the internet that we were experiencing at the time.
Good point.
It didn't necessarily bother us, but once it started evolving. And this kind of leads all the way back up to where we talked about commercials.
Right.
Now we're irritated with everything going slow. And that's the same thing. It applies to everything. It applies to the music. It applies to fashion. It applies to TV. Like as soon as the show is over, you're ready to see the next season. Like, why do I have to wait until 2024 or 2025 to see the next season? Well, they got to shoot it.
My wife,
He said they gotta shoot.
my wife won't even watch series that only have one season.
Yeah.
Because she's so ready
She's
to
like,
go to
no,
the
I
next
need
season.
at least 4.
See?
Yeah, because we want that instant gratification. So if I can save up some gratification in a jar,
Yeah.
and then you know what I'm saying,
Just set it to
what
the
it is.
side.
yeah, set it to the side, and okay, I got enough in the jar that I can you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
appease myself,
Yeah.
until I got to recharge on some more.
Well, look,
it's just
that's a
where we
good
are right
point.
now in general, and you can't really blame that on.
No, I don't blame it on
the
them.
kid. Yeah, you were saying that you can't really blame it on them because that's just how they grew
That's how
up.
they
That's how
grew
they
up.
came up.
But they do embody it. They
Yeah.
embody it to a crazy amount.
But look,
Yeah.
we all remember, or at least, you know, I can remember when they were like, okay, Michael Jackson's Black or White video premiering basically on every station in the world.
Come on.
And you had to wait for it.
Yeah.
You know, and then it was a big deal. And then everybody nobody got it early. And then once it went off, it's not like they were going to play it again immediately.
No, you had to wait.
had to wait to see it again. You know, this
It's
is
like, okay, let's go read a book now.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the just think about it like this. I saw like you know, somebody posted up on one of the sites video for the commercial for the Rough Side of the Mountain. You know, it was like the gospel collection.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it was like, who in the hell left the gate open?
Who in hell left the gate open?
And at
Rough
the end,
Side.
it was like, you know, so many cassettes and so many LPs, or I think maybe they had an 8-track option, and it was like a wait 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, you had to wait 6 weeks to get that in the mail.
And no CODs.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you ordered something off Amazon and they told you it wasn't going to be there for 4 to 6
4 to
weeks?
6
ordering
weeks.
it.
I get mad when the next day shipping,
Yeah.
and I look at it and it's going to come. It don't come
on.
for 2 days.
I
I'm
have
like,
my
I said
stuff
next day
filtered.
shipping.
I have it filtered, and I know at what time of day I can get on there and still get it the same day because I want it right now. A lot of times, if I can't get it the same day, I won't even order it, and then I'll put it off again. And I could have just ordered it right now and had it a day or two later, and I just didn't order it. 'cause I
Yeah,
couldn't
if you
get it
wanted,
right
if you
now.
wanted to have Alfonso Ribeiro teach you how to break dance,
Yeah,
you had
man.
to wait 4 to 6 weeks for that
You
rap
had-
tape
you
and
had
that
to fill out some in the back of a book or something and send it in.
for him to send you that cardboard so you could break dance with your parents' permission.
Yeah, and pray that it didn't get lost in the mail.
To the post office we go. Yeah.
It's almost like we were hitting that peak. We're hitting that point when COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, it just never came back.
Yeah.
And it's been running ever since. And maybe it's because we didn't have a gradual jump into it or something. Maybe that's part of the reason, but
Like the world stopped.
It did.
On a
It
Tuesday.
seemed
No,
like
it's not like it actually stopped.
but it has made all the stuff that we're talking about and the straight vibes and don't get me wrong, the vibe thing has been around for a minute.
It has.
It has.
But it just seems like it's to an extreme to where like we have a literal category that's like best hip hop album, and people are upset that the hip hop is hip hopping. It's just I don't know. It's weird to me.
They have that there was actual lyrics,
Words,
and a
just
message, and the music sounded like it took more than just 2 hours to put together.
And these reactions
It's making me feel emotions. I don't like that. I just want to feel the vibe. That's it.
These aren't pockets of reaction. The reactions that we saw at we talked about Killer Mike. This is everywhere. This is not just here, and I'm not seeing just little bits of this. People were saying this all over the internet.
Yeah.
So it just speaks to, like Lone said, just the era. Yeah, it's the divide. It just shows that the era that we're in.
We were lucky enough to grow up with music, listening to it the way that we did.
Yeah.
And they just don't have that experience. They don't have the soak up, sit down with an album for a week or two until the next album that we want to hear drops. You know, you don't have buy the CD, put it in the car, and then you rock that CD for a while until you buy a new CD.
Or you
trade
with your homies.
And you find the ones that do, you call them old toes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because they're enjoying music the same way that we think it's intended to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we've just evolved past that.